And let's get some more perspective on the changing state of relations between the US and Cuba now. Philip Peters joins us from Washington. For that, he's the president of the Cuba Research Center. Thanks so much for your time today.
Thank you for having me.
Now, it's been 4 months since the thawing of relations was announced by Cuba and the US. There's a lot of interest from investors and from tourists to go there, but there are still no flights from the US to Cuba. So has much changed in that time?
Well, one thing that's changed is that we've got a new process going on here where the two governments are talking, the two presidents are talking. They're going to meet today. They talked on the phone a few days ago. We're going to have embassies soon. In this period, since the announcement last December, travel has increased. A lot of American companies have gone to explore different kinds of business opportunities there. So I think there's a momentum towards something we should have had a long time ago, which is normal relations, as we do with many other countries with which we have disagreements. But we have an embassy and a normal diplomatic relationship. We open up commercial relations, expand the relations between the societies. That's good for both countries.
And despite having the appearance of being stuck in the 60s, Cuba actually outperforms America on a number of fronts. I was reading a Time magazine, in the magazine, and it said Cuba has a literacy rate of 99.8% and a lower infant mortality rate than the US. So can America learn a few things from Cuba?
Well, I think we can. I think that it would be good to collaborate, and I do think we have things that we can collaborate on and sure learn from each other. Cuba has, for example, just take one example in the economic sphere, they have a biotechnology and pharmaceutical sector that doesn't have a lot of resources at all, but they do a lot with what we have, with what they have, and Americans who are in that industry are very interested in getting together with the Cuban research institutes and possibly working on the development of medicines. So that's just one area where we can work together.
And there's no doubt there's so many of the Fortune 500 companies looking for opportunities in Cuba. Is it a matter of waiting for the US Embassy to be set up and running and for Cuba to be removed from the terrorism list before we'll see any real movement there?
Well, when it comes to business, what President Obama has done so far has been to open up travel as far as he can with the authority that he has. It's an open up a few areas of exports that were prohibited before, so we can export construction materials and all kinds of things that'll help the Cuban private sector. Basically anything you can find in a Walmart or a Sears or a Best Buy, all kinds of household products like that, computers, cell phones, renewable energy equipment, agricultural tools and equipment. All those things President Obama opened up. So those exports are going to start soon, I think. President Obama allowed us to buy imports from the Cuban private sector, both goods and services. So that'll take a while to get going, but I think that will get going. And taking Cuba off the terrorism list will make banking easier for Cuba. So that's an economic benefit for Cuba. And then as for the rest of it, you're talking about Fortune 500 companies. Some of them have opportunities now, but many are going to have to wait for the embargo to come down because we still can't invest in Cuba and do a lot of other activities in a lot of other sectors. So that's going to require the Congress to end the embargo itself before business can get in there fully.
Some progress, but a lot still to go. Philip Peters, thank you very much for joining us today. We really appreciate your time.